There it goes.
All right. Hi, guys. It's the girls of summer, Sarah and Emily. We're back with another fun installment of our new and improved video podcast. We're here to bring you some good Rangers talk and just other baseball talk in general, and sometimes life and pop culture and just whatever we feel like, really. So thanks for coming along for the ride. Emily, how are you?
Good. I'm in a ridiculously good mood today for some reason, so it's pretty great. Always good.
Of course, of course. All right. So what's on your baseball mind right now?
Well, our lovely former wonderful pitcher named CJ Wilson had an interview this morning with Mac Engel from 105.3 The Fan. I think
So
that's
douchebag
right.
interviewing douchebag. Got it.
Yes, there you go. Um, so one of my least favorite things in the world is that Dallas media and probably other media too like to instigate and like to rile up everyone and just make huge reactions for no reason. And one of those things that they did was talk to CJ Wilson yesterday after the Angels game, which is fine because I understand that he's still kind of relevant in our fandom, and I did get riled up a little bit about it, but also just because I like to listen to CJ Wilson make a fool of himself. So I don't know if you heard any of it this morning. You think you said you watched a couple, or you watched, yes, because you can watch the radio. I think you said that you listened to it this morning.
I
I
heard a
don't know
little
if you
bit
heard
of
all
it,
of
but
it.
yeah, I heard a little bit of it, but give us the full rundown of kind of what he said.
Okay, so Mac asked him about the Josh Hamilton situation, which is a big topic right now and pretty crazy intense stuff for Josh Hamilton's life. And CJ's the player's rep, and so he had a few choice things to say about Josh Hamilton and his situation with the Angels. And of course, the Angels aren't happy about it. Basically, he thinks that if Josh Hamilton were performing better or like bigger a star, they wouldn't be trying to get rid of him like they are right now. So Mac asked him what he thought of the Josh situation and like if he could say a few words on it, and CJ said, "Oh, I've already said something about it." And instead of just humoring him and just repeating a couple of statements about it, when Mac asked if he could do just that, he said, "You can Google it." CJ Wilson said, "You can Google it. There's this thing called the internet, and you can look it up on there." So, in true CJ fashion, instead of just being as plain and simple, like either one, I don't want to comment on it again, so I'm sorry, or two, well, this is what I said, basic, like rundown of what he said. He didn't have to get into detail. Or, just, hey, like, I'd rather not get into it. He straight up got total smart ass on him and just introduced him to Google. Like, we don't know what Google is. So first, that was the first offense of CJ Wilson's mouth. And then I guess Mac decided that he wanted to stir some more stuff up. And he asked him if he's surprised at what's happening with the Rangers right now. I guess like how they're playing. But instead of going from like the injury standpoint, we went from straight scorched earth, everyone who leaves here sucks. Or like not doesn't suck, but like hates John Daniels standpoint. To where CJ said that he left unhappy, Ian Kinsler left unhappy, and Mike Napoli left unhappy. And he said
Well,
that
time out. Wait, he really said Napoli left unhappy too?
yeah, he definitely said Napoli left unhappy. Which,
Really?
yeah, in my mind, I'm thinking, you made Napoli unhappy. Remember that time that you tweeted out his phone number and everyone called him, and it was you that made Napoli unhappy. But I also remember Mike Napoli tweeting and talking to the Ranger fans and saying thanks to the Rangers organization for everything they had done. And, it just didn't work out. The offers just weren't the same either way. They just couldn't settle on something that they liked. And that's fine because that happens all the time in baseball. But Mike Napoli never said a bad word about the organization, at least publicly. Maybe he did leave unhappy and we just don't know it. But for CJ to just like throw that out there like it's a known fact that Napoli left unhappily. Well, that works. That Napoli left unhappy is crazy because Nap's never said anything but nice things about this town, Dallas. He loved being here. He loved the organization and he loved the fans. Like I've never heard Mike Napoli say anything other than nice things. So that was pretty crazy. But he said that it's not surprising the way that things are going for the Rangers because of how everyone left here and how everyone who's left has had the same opinion of the organization. And I mean, I guess recently we've seen a lot of negativity around it and like Jackie Moore and Nolan Ryan and all that. And yeah, Ian Kinsler left unhappy, but I think Ian Kinsler left unhappy for a different reason because he was traded without like knowledge of it. Like he didn't know that was going to happen. And I can understand being upset that you weren't told about it first, or that you weren't talked to about it first, or you weren't involved in the conversation. And I can understand being upset for that. And yeah, he spouted his mouth off real quick, but I think it's different than Jackie Moore going scorched earth on the Rangers and saying that, like he's a Nolan guy and all this stuff. And CJ just opened his mouth and just caused a bunch of crap. Is basically what he did. He also said the weirdest thing to me. Mac actually did bring up the fact that everyone was hurt, and he was like, "Well, I mean, like look at Elvis Andrus. You still have Elvis Andrus, and it's just not the same team or whatever." And then he's like, "You still have Elvis Andrus, and you got this." He's like, "But Elvis isn't going to produce like Napoli does or Napoli numbers, and Elvis isn't going to take the place of Josh Hamilton." And I was like, but he's not supposed to. That wasn't Elvis's job. Like, we didn't get Elvis to replace Josh Hamilton. We didn't get Elvis to replace Mike Napoli. Like, that wasn't Elvis's job. It's never been Elvis's job to be a power hitter and to hit 40 bombs. He's like, yeah, he's not going to win a Triple Crown. He's not going to hit 40 bombs. And I'm like, no, Elvis is not going to hit 40 bombs or win the Triple Crown. Even when we thought Elvis was going to be better than what he's shown us over, recently, he still wasn't supposed to hit 40 bombs or win the Triple Crown. That was never Elvis's job. That was never what we thought Elvis was going to do. And so for him to even say that is really stupid. And then he said that oh my gosh, what was the last thing he said? Oh, it's not the same team. Oh, he said that 2010, 2011, those two seasons were the best that any of those players had ever experienced in their career. They were really special moments, all of them, because they all got along really well. And, it was that prime time in their careers. Of course it was, because we went to the World Series twice, those 2 years. And everyone was getting along. Everyone played for each other. Everyone held each other accountable is what he said, which what I translated into is CJ blamed them all for his problems.
Yeah, we're going to get into that in a little bit because that ties into Josh too, I think.
Yeah. And so he said that he's like, well, it's not the same team now, and you can't expect to only have two guys from the same team that went to the World Series and expect to still be good. And which I get what he was trying to say, I think, because of course it's not the same team and you can't expect to be that same kind of team again because you don't have those same players. But the whole point of sports and baseball and any team is you trade people or people leave and you have to replace them and you have to find a team that's good again. So yes, of course it's not the same team and it doesn't mean that they're going to go to the World Series again, but they've done the best that they can with what's available and the way that baseball goes now to put a competitive team on the field. But last year the whole team was hurt the whole time, and this year it's not looking to be any better. So I mean, it's not the same team and it's not the same caliber of what it was, but to suggest that they're not playing the best of their abilities because the organization isn't treating them well is insane to me, because I don't think that Elvis Andrus is just automatically just stopped playing the way that he knows how to play baseball because he decided he hated the Texas Rangers all of a sudden. He hated John Daniels for whatever reason, and now he's just not playing the way that he could. or like Shin-Soo Choo came over, signed a really decent contract with John Danielson, came over here and was like, yeah, well, he's a sleazeball, so I'm just gonna get hurt is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna purposefully get hurt. Or Prince Fielder, gets traded for comes over here and decides, it's the best time in my career to just get an injury. I've never had one before, so why not? John Daniels is a sleazeball. Let's do this. Like,
Or,
CJ is
you
just,
Darvish. Yeah, he totally decided, I'm going to make the
yeah,
sleazeball pay for my Tommy John surgery.
exactly. Like, CJ is just, like, full of crap. And he did say, like, you could see, or Mac asked CJ about his contract going into Anaheim and how he said, did the Rangers ever the Rangers like decided they weren't going to give you any money. That's what we heard. Is that true? And of course, CJ being CJ was like, oh, it turned out to be true. Like the Rangers were just like, nah, we never wanted to pay you anything. Because they wanted to give all their money to Yu Darvish. And CJ said that they did tell him that they were going to make an offer to him, but they wanted to wait on Yu Darvish first, which again happens in baseball. So like for him to think that this was some sort of surprise or like he's so butthurt over something that is like a normal transaction, I don't understand. So he said that they wanted to wait on Yu Darvish to see how much that was going to cost or whatever, and then they would throw an offer his way. And then he said that the Angels had approached him in November and he waited for the Rangers, and the Rangers said that they were going to go ahead and pass because they were kind of hoping that he would find, or that he wouldn't be, no one would throw him a good offer and he would have to come back and settle for less money, and then that's when they would offer him something, which again happens in baseball. And he just felt like they had betrayed him, and I just don't understand because it's like this was all a new experience for CJ, which I mean, I guess it was his first like free agent thing or whatever, but it's like he didn't know how the off season of free agency worked at all, because like this is a thing, like this is real life, this is what happens. Like they wait for the big superstar to come, Yu Darvish. They give him all their money, and if they have some left over, they're gonna give it to you. But if they don't, then sorry about your life. They got the player they wanted. The end. Like it just is what it is. It's baseball. Like he just sounded so butthurt over the Rangers, and like he spoke very highly of the 2010-2011 team. And so that was kind of interesting. He was very like appreciative of all his friends that he made here, which I don't know how many of these guys are really his friends, but um, he spoke very highly of those years and said, like those are the best years of his career. They're the best years of almost all of those guys' careers, not just number wise, but like the enjoyment they got out of those years was a very special time. And that I appreciated those words, but then he just turned around and said stuff about, how everyone hates the Rangers organization and leaves unhappy, and just to like, just run his mouth. Like, I understand that the Dallas media baits him, and it is annoying. I wish that people would just leave him alone. Just like stop talking to him. Just quit. Just, it doesn't matter. Like, CJ's gone. It's fine. We know he's a douchebag. It's what he does. But for you to keep going up and talking to him is just stirring shit up. It's like it doesn't even matter anymore. And he likes to run his mouth, and you know that. So hey, what's your idea is let's go talk to CJ Wilson so that we can rile this whole fan base up, so when next time we need page views, they remember that CJ said this, so we'll mention that in this article, and you'll click on it, or you'll listen to my radio station again because we get to talk about how much we hate CJ all the time, and you can relate to that, can't you? It's just like, will you just leave him alone so I don't have to hear his stupid voice anymore? Like, he's with the Angels, my least favorite team. Um, and he runs his mouth about my favorite team, and I don't really want to hear it anymore. So, as much as I hated what he had to say, and I hate hearing him, I also think that he's definitely baited. They know that he doesn't know how to shut up, so they're going to keep going.
So, yeah, it sounds like he had a lot to say, and it sounds all douchey and stupid. So I'm glad nothing's changed. At least, it's not like we feel like, oh, well, he thinks it's better. We might have actually missed out on the guy. So at least we know that. And, just watch him pitch the game and you'll realize we're not missing out on much either. But I'm still kind of floored by his Napoli comment. Because, when Napoli came back with Boston the very first time, he was on all the radio stations, said he loved it. He was glad to, get the Rangers to as close as they were, especially in 2011, and just be a part of all that. And so that's baffled me. Just, it just baffles me that he would leave. And like you said, he may have been angry, or things may have been said in front of it, but for CJ to publicly say, "Oh yeah, Napoli left too." No, you keep his name out of your mouth because you just you have nothing to say about him at all. And I'm still kind of pissed off about the whole phone thing too, because that was just stupid. That was really stupid, actually. But it's not his job to speak for Kins, either. It's not his job to speak for any of those guys. And like you said, I know Mac baited him into that, and it's just stupid. The media is baffling these days, and I know the Rangers are up and down, and they can't make up their minds what they want to do yet. But the media is just so atrocious lately. Like I don't even know how to describe it. It's just been weird. Like it's just been weird to listen to the radio, read stuff. Outside of like Evan Grant and Anthony Andro, they've stayed pretty level-headed, but it just seems like nobody knows what to think, and so they're just kind of spitballing the first thing that comes to their mind. And as of today, that was, hey, let's bring Josh Hamilton back. And we kind of touched on him a little bit because it was announced that his wife is going to, I assume she's still going to be on The Real Housewives of Orange County, which if she is, we are all going to watch that train wreck together, and we're going to love it.
Yes, we are.
But all kidding, and I don't like her at all. Just I'm gonna throw, and I don't, Josh loves her. That's fine. That's his call. But I just think that she is a big part of his problem, and it's up to him to see that, obviously. But I think she's a big part of why he feels the need to cope with the stresses of marriage and being a father and a husband and just life in general outside of baseball with his relapses. I think that's why those happen. It's just because he doesn't know how to cope any other way except, well, I'm going to go numb the pain, and then in a couple of days it'll all be okay again. And so, not to sound insensitive, but I'm not surprised it happened because he has this trigger in his life. I think, I may be wrong, but she just seems like a trigger in him, in his life that is just going to keep him going if things don't change for both of them. And I don't think coming back to Texas is going to be a positive change for him like some people want to assume it is. Now, the organization did take great care of him and his family, but that doesn't mean it'll work this time.
Yeah, no. I think that the whole Josh Hamilton coming back to Texas thing is seriously just baiting. It's just to stir the fan base up, to have them talk about something, to have them involved so they get their popularity, and just let's do this. I can't really ever see a moment where Josh Hamilton comes back to Texas. That's kind of really ridiculous. If the Angels are trying to get rid of him because he's, one, hurt all the time, and two, his personal issues are starting to really affect him, and it's just not really working. Like, why would we bring him back here? Like, it just doesn't make any sense, especially with the kind of money that he's owed. And yeah, I understand that if he were to come back here, they would pay part of his contract or whatever, and that is what it is. But I just don't think that it would ever be worth it. Josh has a lot of demons in his life and a lot of issues in his life that are very serious that I won't pretend to understand on a personal, real, like my own life level. I've dealt with people around me who have had to have similar issues, and I understand how much they can affect your personal life if you don't have the right support system around you. And I think there might be truth to the fact that Katie is an issue, especially with the fact that she knows her husband has problems, and being in the spotlight probably isn't helping him because it's causing a lot of pressure, and she's still doing it. But again, I could be completely wrong. I don't know Josh Hamilton on a personal level either. But there's too much in Josh's life for it to go wrong completely. And as sad as I think it is, I think his career in baseball is coming to an end very soon. The Angels are probably going to try their hardest to get out of it or get rid of him or just have him not play anymore because it's just not worth it. And it's unfortunate. It really is. Like, I feel for Josh as like a human being. I know he said a lot of things when he was here, when he left here, and it was stupid and we all hated him for it, but that doesn't change the fact that he's still a human being that has real issues. He doesn't deserve to be treated the way that he's being treated right now. He really doesn't. And regardless of what he said to the Rangers fans and whatever you think of Josh Hamilton, the way the Angels are trying to get rid of him is not okay. I think I just got like kind of off topic, but point is, when he first started talking about this, I don't think Josh is coming back to Texas. I really do think that's just all baiting and stupid. And I think that there are a lot of gullible and hopeful Ranger fans out there who are just going to keep talking about it and wanting Josh to come back. But I don't think that's a move that actually gets made at all. I don't think that it's ever even pretended to be on the table, and now everyone's going to talk about the rumors of Josh going back to Texas, like my mom actually did earlier. She's like, oh, I hear that we might get Josh back, and I was like, no, you hear that somebody decided that we should talk about it, like, and now everyone's going to take it and run with it like we really did talk about it. Like, but no, it's fine. No one talked about it. So,
yeah, I think the closest we've come to that before then was that one tweet from somebody at the winter meetings saying that what is their GM? Not their GM. Yeah, their GM. I know who their owner is, but his name will come to me. But their GM, the Angels GM, supposedly had called, of all people, John Daniels and AJ Preller just to check in and see if they wanted Josh. And I'm like, you do realize who you called, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that none of that made sense. And I'm like,
Jerry DePoto, by the way.
Thank you.
I didn't know you were talking. I didn't know if you were talking about the Angels for a second, and I was like, wait, what? Yeah, it's Jerry DePoto. Jerry DePoto?
The other JD.
Yeah, the bad one, the one that signed Josh to that in the first place.
Yeah, so he's going to be bad JD now. Yeah, I think that's what we'll call him now, bad JD. Anyway, so yeah, so I was kind of surprised that bad JD called the two former GM and assistant GM that worked with Josh and knew his whole story, saying, "Hey, do either one of you want him back in your on your team?" And of course, they laughed and then just slammed down the phone and ran away.
They probably just like laughed really hard, just like just kept going, just like in his face for like 5 minutes, just laughed, just That's what I feel like John Daniels should have done to him. I don't know if John Daniels is that like smartass or anything like that, but he should be, and it would have been great.
Yeah, but so that was baffling. Just to hear that was even done. It's like I said, did DePoto realize who he called? I mean, of course, it was just going to be you interested? No? Okay, bye. So that's the closest we've come to anything like that coming to fruition. Now, though, it is getting interesting because Artie Moreno is a piece of shit. And I don't know how else to put it. He's just a piece of shit human being because he is not doing anything in Josh's best interest right now. And, people think JD maybe had to babysit Josh a little too much or coddle him or, do a little too much that you shouldn't have to do for a grown man. At least JD cared, and JD at least tried to understand Josh's situation in his life and what it all involved. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that this is a human being looking at another human being taking care of a human being who needs help. And he's got the resources, they have the money, the time, the effort, put it all into him, and for the most part, it worked. It helped Josh. And, if Neftali Felice makes a pitch to David Freese or Nelly Cruz runs a clean route on that ball, that 2-run home run he hit in the top of the 10th, it matters. It stands out in Rangers history forever. And he's probably still here. I mean, that whole thing could have changed. And, regretfully, what happened, but I mean, he did do some pretty cool stuff for this team, and I'm not going to deny that he didn't. But I think he's just, what the Angels are doing to him now is not going to make it any better for him to come back to Texas and try to play baseball this season. So not only is Hardy Marino screwing himself up and screwing his whole organization over, he's screwing over another guy's life if the guy still wants to try to go live his life somewhere else. And that's why I think he's just the biggest piece of shit on the planet at the moment. You're not only ruining your organization and your reputation, but you're going to make it impossible for this guy, if he still wants to continue to try to play baseball, to go anywhere else. Because you're pretty much throwing him under a huge gigantic bus and giving him no way to get out and defend himself. And I just think that's shitty.
Oh yeah, no, it's totally shitty. It's like the worst. We tend to sometimes get away from the fact that these are human beings playing baseball. We want to talk about it being a business, and we want to talk about these numbers, and we want to talk about the contracts and how much everyone's valued. And there's of course like a very important like I just lost my train of thought. There's an importance to them not being humans for a second, because we do want that production on the field, and that's fine. But we tend to just like say, oh, I can trade this guy. You don't need to be attached to anybody. You don't need to do that. And then we just forget that they're like real human beings, and we don't understand that Josh has a different mindset than the rest of us, because unless you're also a drug addict, Josh is different than me. I'm not a drug addict. I'm not addicted to anything. Thankfully, I heaven forbid, I can imagine it's a miserable life. For some people, if you don't have the right kind of support around you. And whether you think that JD swaddled him and took too good of care of him or whatever, Josh thrived here, and he had his moments here, and he was really good. I mean, he had his like relapses here too. Let's not say that it was perfect here or anything, but I don't think that's just going to be part of Josh's life for all of it. Are the moments that he has weakness, but that doesn't change how he gets up and brushes himself off and walks away from it and gets better about it. But I think the Angels organization aren't going to give him a very good chance to dust himself off and walk away from it, because they're just not treating him like he's a human being. They don't care. And on one hand, it's like, okay, well, of course they don't want somebody who can't perform on their team, but on the other hand, it's a human being, and that should trump everything, because you can't treat your workers, your employees, which is what Josh is what we forget, and like they're just objects and that they don't matter. You have to have some little bit of investment in their lives. And if you knew when you signed Josh Hamilton to hit that ridiculous contract what his past was, he never kept it a secret from you. He never kept anything a secret from anyone, because he wanted to be open and honest so that you understood his struggles, instead of it was just some mysterious thing. He wrote an entire book about his recovery. He was very open about his relapses and what it took to get him there. He was very open about who was taking care of him in the Rangers organization. And you knew what you were getting yourself into. And now you're going to sit here and treat him like a piece of garbage that you just decided you're done with. Like you didn't get what you wanted out of it. It's like you ordered a hamburger from like Twisted Root and you got a McDonald's hamburger, and now you just want to throw it all away instead of just using it for what it is. It's still food. It's still there for you. It just it really bothers me. It really, really does. As someone who knows addicts in my life, and seeing how much of a support system can be a good thing for them, to have someone who you think is supposed to be, taking care of you because they're your employer and they're supposed to be invested in your life, actually just kind of quit on you, and not even defend you, like not even come out and defend your life and your choices and say, you know what, he did this and we're going to move on with it. We're going to try to get him better, but not even to do that, to just be plain outraged that you weren't suspended. That is like some serious messed up stuff. Like, Artie Moreno, you are a piece of garbage. I hope you know that. Josh Hamilton is a human being, and he matters whether you think he does for your baseball team or not. So, no matter what Josh has said about the Rangers organization, no matter what he said about the fans and the not a baseball town and all that stuff, it doesn't matter right now. It doesn't, because this is more than baseball, and it's more than you or I or anybody else could ever put into, words or life or like understand completely, because we're not close enough to Josh.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that the Angels organization is being very, very trashy right now, and I am not happy with it.
I think I saw somebody put on Twitter that like they used the term ratchet in regards to the Angels, and I'm like, yeah, in an odd way, I guess it fits.
Yes. No, ratchet. It's like my favorite word. I'm just kidding. It's not. I think I've used that word like twice in my life. But yeah, it's just really disrespectful, and I don't even understand. I don't understand how there's no one in MLB right now that thinks that Artie Moreno is acting like a good human being, and he's still doing what he's doing. Like, no one cares.
Yeah, and our mutual Twitter friend Christina, I think last night, she goes, no, it was either her or Marcy, but one of them goes, you fucked up whenever you get Rangers fans to defend CJ and Josh in the same, in the same conversation without even thinking about it. And I'm like, yeah, that's a very good way to look at it. I mean, there's just no way to not step up for him and just defend him and say, Artie, what the hell are you doing? There's just no reasonable explanation for how he's handling this. It's just I don't see how he's going to be an owner. I mean, I just don't see how he's going to thrive as an owner any longer after this.
No, he can't have any sort of player respect or loyalty after this. He can't expect to have any sort of player loyalty after this. Or, I mean, not that, of course, you don't have to have player loyalty at all times, but no one's going to want to actively go to your organization if they don't feel like you're going to back them up. Like, they can't mess up at all, because as soon as they do, you're done. You're not even going to get mad that they're going to get suspended. Like, that is something no owner except for the Yankees and A-Rod is ever mad when someone doesn't get suspended. Like, it's just crazy. Like, if you want your player to be suspended, there is a problem. Like, there's definitely a problem in your mentality. And gives Josh some time, maybe, but like having him be suspended for that is kind of ridiculous.
I agree. I just, obviously, human to human, I hope Josh is okay. And if he needs to find a way to learn to cope for life after baseball, and he needs to start making those preparations now, I hope it goes well for him. And I hope he doesn't get back into that very deep, dark place that he talks about that he was when he was a younger man. I hope he doesn't return to that, because that's obviously not going to benefit anybody. But, baseball-wise, if he decides to keep going down this path, then I hope he can get back on track and at least figure it out. That way he can go out on his terms and not like this. Because it's one thing, for like a guy like Colby Lewis, who everybody loves him, he's a leader. and he gets injured, and he wants to come back for just one more healthy foray on his own, and then ride off into the sunset on his own. That's one thing. Josh shouldn't have to go out like this. If this is the final curtain for him, he should not have to go out this way. And it's just extremely disappointing that that's how it's looking like it's going to have to happen for him. And it's just sad.
Yeah, it really is. Josh, the flashes of greatness that we saw in Josh, he could have been something like amazing. I mean, granted, if Game 6 2011 had gone a little differently, he would have been like revered and everything would be way different right now. But it could have just gone so much better for him, and it is depressing. I think with a better organization, it could have gone even better now for him. So it just sucks that he's just getting kind of pushed under the rug, and we don't even hear about him anymore. And
yeah,
it's depressing.
All right, so let's talk about something a little happier. So this is kind of funny. I saw this before we hopped on for this. Tanner Shepard has been suspended by the Texas League for 3 games, and he's being fined $300 for being ejected last Saturday. Yeah, last Saturday for throwing behind a pitcher in one of his rehab starts in Frisco. So what that translates to is the Frisco Rough Riders are a part of the Texas League, which is one of the 3 AA leagues. And so they decided to fine him $300, which I'm sure he's just like, here's my wallet. Can I write you a check, or do you want my debit card? I mean, I'm sure that's no skin off his teeth. But if he ever has to go back there for rehab, he will have to sit out 3 games for throwing behind the guy. Where honestly, he was kind of wild that night, just command wise. So it was totally an accident. And what was really weird is the first base umpire was the one who made the call to eject him, not the home plate umpire, not the crew chief, the first base ump of all people. And he did it pretty damn quick too, because I was actually at the game, and he had a pretty quick trigger on Tanner that night. And so the whole thing was just weird. And then to find out that he's being suspended and fined, it's like, really? So it just makes me laugh, just because it's all ridiculous. I mean, he wasn't obviously trying to throw at a 21-year-old kid. I mean, really, if he was, then that's supremely Bush League, and we may have to talk to Tanner Shepard about his attitude issues. But I mean, he's not trying to intentionally beam a 21-year-old. So I mean, I think the Texas League needs to chill a little bit.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, right before I was waiting on my computer to update. I didn't see that he was fined $300, but that's pretty funny, because that's like pocket change. Like, he's got that just laying around. So thanks, that's fine, whatever. But I did see that it wouldn't affect his MLB return, because he's supposed to be back. Tomorrow or whatever, but
something like that. Yeah. So I mean, he's fine to return, whenever the club wants him. But I just think it's funny that if he ever has to go back down there, he won't get to pitch for the first 3 games.
The fact that the only time he'll probably go back down there is for rehab is pretty funny. So then when he goes down there for rehab, he's gonna have to just sit there for 3 games and then do his rehab, and that's pretty hilarious. That's great. I mean,
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I heard about the throw, but I didn't see it or anything. So I just assumed that it was one of those things that was probably made a bigger deal out of than it should have been.
It really was. Like I said, the first base ump of all people made the call, and he was real quick about it. And it was also Bark in the Park night at Frisco. They're going to start doing that now, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah. So we were sitting out in the outfield berm, and it was kind of confusing because the ump makes a move, and Joe McCulloch comes storming out of the dugout, and we thought he was mad at Tanner. Well, then he comes and he gets right up, and so here's Jorge Alfaro trying to keep Tanner Shepard from going at the ump, and then here comes McCulloch on the other side going after the ump. And so when we figured out that Tanner just got ejected, what the hell? So McCulloch like throws down his hat and kicks it around the infield and kicks it all the way to first base and then tries to kick it back up the other side to second base and just he puts on a whole big show and it's hilarious.
What? That seems a little extensive.
Well, it's a part of the show for minor league ball, I guess. But
I guess.
But he also does believe like 3 days earlier for the home opener. In the first inning, he pulled Tyler Pastornicki, the starting shortstop, who we had just acquired from, I think, the Braves, maybe. Anyway, he pulled him for not hustling down the first baseline on an infield hit, or, on an infield ball. He pulled him from the game. So, I mean, he's very serious about, look, you give everything you got, and they leave everything on the field, or else I'm going to find the guy who will and replace you with him. So, I mean... I like it, and he obviously backs it up, when he thinks his guys are in the right and he needs to go defend them because they can't. So, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can respect that.
But yeah, you're right.
Especially for the little kids is what I call them because I'm old now. Especially for the young ones and the ones learning. I guess it's really good to stick to those kind of rules. Just to teach them how to respect the game, I guess, in the right way. But yeah, using your baseball cap as a soccer ball around the infield is probably not a good show after a certain point either. No, I mean it doesn't really feel like it would be. I feel like maybe kicking it once or twice is probably good enough. But if you're like gonna keep going, like maybe you should just chill for a second. Like just find your chill for like 2 seconds. Seems a little crazy.
All right, we need to take it down another notch again.
Uh-oh.
So we lost Derek Holland. How are you feeling about that?
Oh my gosh. Like, I mean, if anybody watched our last podcast, videocast, whatever.
Right?
I know, I was so mad too because I love Derek Holland so much. Like, I love who he is as a pitcher and who he is as a person, and I just get really defensive of Derek Holland because I think people are way overcritical. We established that on the last videocast. And I just think that he just loves being where he is, and he's good, and felt so bad for him because I was at that game, first of all, because opening day. Can I tell you how I didn't see a single Derek Holland pitch? Not one. I know there were only 9. So
yes, you blink and you miss it pretty much, right?
I wasn't even in my seat yet. I went to the outfield because our friend Mike McGee, he was out there. And I watched all the opening stuff, like ceremonies and everything in the outfield. And then I walked to my seat. So I knew I was going to miss like the first inning or whatever, like first half of the first inning. I didn't think that was going to be a big deal. And then all of a sudden my phone starts blowing up. I'm barely like in my section that I had to stop to get a beer or 3 or whatever, and I was barely in my section, and my phone's blowing up, and I was like, "What's happening? What's going on?" Because I was by myself, and they were like, "Derek Holland! Oh my God, Derek Holland!" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then all of a sudden, they were like, "Okay, Derek Holland is gone." I was like, "I didn't even see a Derek Holland pitch. Are you kidding me?" I was so mad because I was so excited for Derek to open that game, to start that game. I was so excited for him to do that in the home crowd and to get that support and to show him what he's made of. And then he pitched 9 pitches and was gone. And did you see the interview afterwards, though?
Yeah, and that's where I was about to take this next.
I don't wanna take it there.
No, we got to because we did it with you, Darvish, and we need to go with him too because this just further solidifies the point we made when we were discussing you that they're on opposite ends of the same spectrum, and that's okay. So you have, like we said, you have you Darvish over here who's like, I'm going to be around my teammates. I'm going to get to know the guys better, to know myself better. I'm going to learn how to recover. And I don't think I got to mention this because he just put it out like a week or so ago. But he's actually like trying to crowdsource information on Tommy John surgeries, like other people who've had Tommy John surgery. He's trying to crowdsource their experiences and their recovery experiences just to help further like help further refine the process of the surgery and the recovery, and afterwards, everything that goes with it. And I think that's kind of cool that he's dedicated to like researching it, and he's actually like reading books on it and all this stuff. So I mean, he's educating himself. He's being a teammate. He's hanging around the guys. We saw him in the dugout. And I have a theory because it's been kind of chilly in Dallas lately, and you see most of the pitchers, in their warm up jackets in the dugout if they're not pitching and stuff like that. And here he is, in his he's in his uniform and everything, but he's not wearing his jacket, and you see that cast right there on his elbow, like a badge of honor, and I think he's kind of showing off. It's kind of cool if you ask me if that's really what he's doing, but that's beside the point. So you have him; he's trying to learn from this, and use it to grow and be a better person. And then you have Derek Holland, who told Evan Grant, "I had to keep myself from doing something stupid and overreacting." And I read that, and I'm like, "You're allowed to say that. I know you're pissed off. Don't say it that way to the media, who's going to put it out there, and then let everybody blow it up." And sure enough, everybody blew it up.
I must have missed that, to be honest with you, because I saw his
interview. Oh, that's where I thought you were going with it.
No, I saw the interview. Don't get me wrong. I saw his interview. His interview broke my heart. His interview was like, this is how I don't understand how people take things differently. Because when I saw that interview, I almost started crying because Derek was almost crying. And like, he was like, "It just sucks. This sucks." Like, he was so mad because that's not how he wanted to start the season. He didn't play almost all last season, so of course he didn't want to do this. And he was just he didn't. I know he said that like, I'm trying to not say something stupid, or I'm trying to overact. I'm trying to keep, he was trying to keep himself in check. And I know he said that, which I thought was fine because.
Well, let me clarify. I thought it was fine too, but there are going to be people who read. I had to keep myself from doing something stupid. They're going to read the keep from doing something stupid. They're going to read the something stupid part and be like, "Well, yeah, we know you're a goofball, so what could you possibly come up with this time, genius?" I mean, not saying I believe that, but that was the general consensus. And sure enough, if you go and look on Twitter later that day, it was all out there. I mean, again, I'm not trying to present it like I believe that, but I know that there are fans out there who do that. They'll analyze that little part of his statement and blow it up like they did. And and like we established when we did talk about him, that pisses me off. And I know it pisses me off too, but there's reason for that.
Well, I mean, I didn't think that you believed that either. I know that you were just saying like people were taking it and running with it. I missed somehow all of that reaction. Thank God, because I would not have reacted pretty to people talking crap about Derek Holland after that happened. Because what I took away from that interview is how mad he was that he got hurt, and that he was going to be out for however long. And how disappointed he was because he legitimately looked like he was about to start crying and sounded like he was about to start crying. He was not happy. He was not a happy person. And that's not what he wanted. And you can't be mad at him for getting an injury that he had no control over. It was not like he tripped over his dog. Like he didn't have control over having like sprain or strain or tightness or whatever it is. It just happened and he didn't want it to, and he's very upset about it, and he has every right to be very upset about it because he missed almost all of last season. And he was ready to come back. He was ready to prove what he had and ready to, like face up in the absence of Yu Darvish, and it all got shot in 9 pitches. If you expect your baseball player to not be emotional, and I know that they'll chop up what he said, well, whatever, but if you expect your baseball player to not be that emotional, knowing who he is, being Derek Holland, then you're expecting too much. Again, you're expecting too much. I would be mad. I would be so livid if I went to work one day and was ready and excited to go back to work and like slipped and fell and had to go home 5 minutes into it. Like, I would be really angry. Like, I can't imagine that it's any different for him, and especially being how pumped he was for this season. You know, all the stuff he said to Ted Price on Twitter, and you know, trying to pump everyone up in the absence of Yu Darvish is really the thing. Like, he wanted to do it. He wanted to prove to you guys and everyone around him that, you know, Yu Darvish is great and they loved him, but look, I'm still here and I can do it too. And then he threw 9 pitches and couldn't prove anything. And so it's gotta be super disappointing. And for anybody to like twist his words around like that is just really rude. You're just being rude, guys. Derek doesn't want to be hurt. He doesn't want to sit this season out or any time out. He never. If you think that Derek wants any of that, or Derek is going to jeopardize that in any way further, then you don't understand athletes and you don't understand Derek Holland. Like, that's not what he wants. And he's not going to purposefully go put himself into some stupid situation to make it worse. He's not going to do that.
I believe that, but I wish our fellow fans, and I'm going to put this out there. I'm glad sports welcomes everybody into the fold. It doesn't keep anybody from being a fan. There aren't rules that we have to follow to be a proper fan or anything like that. I'm glad for that, because as a fan, I'm not going to lie.
Adjust your microphone. Adjust your microphone. I can't hear you.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad sports does, I'm just glad there aren't rules to follow as a fan. I'm glad we get to be a fan how we want, how we see fit. At the same time, some of us just need to stop being so stupid, especially about Derek Holland. Let him react how he wants. He didn't do anything stupid to, further injure himself. So it's okay. And I'm actually proud of most people, because Ryan Garbutt posted a picture of Derek Holland out with him. I guess it was last night.
Yes, it was last night.
And I'm surprised that, and I'm pleasantly surprised that thing didn't go nuclear on Derek Holland.
Yeah,
because you very well know it could have.
Oh no, I had the same thought. I was like, oh god, that's not going to go over well, because of course I got into hockey, so I saw the Ryan Garbutt picture and I was like really excited because baseball and hockey combined, and it was really great. But then I was like, oh great, now everyone's going to start talking crap about Derek Holland for not like rehabbing the right way, the same way they talked about Prince Fielder all last year. Apparently you're not allowed to spend time with your family. You need to be focused on baseball. So I thought that for sure was going to happen. And then the other day, I went to the game on Tuesday, I guess it was. And no, this was Sunday. We went to the game on Sunday because I thought it started at 1 and it started at 2. So we were there really early. And in the outfield, all the pitchers were out there and they were running around, throwing baseballs at each other, stretching, running, doing stuff. And then they broke out these foam footballs, like Nerf footballs, and were like running football plays, like passes and stuff. And it was fun. They were having fun, and it was actually like, an activity that was helping them with their hand-eye coordination and all that stuff. So it was fine. But Derek was participating in it. And I thought for sure that somebody was going to say something about that. And my first thought was how frustrating it is to be able to do activities like throwing a football around or catching one and not be able to throw a baseball. But I know a lot of other people's first reaction would be, oh, he can throw that football, but he can't throw a baseball. Like, what's wrong with him?
Yeah.
And so scared that was going to be a thing too. But I imagine that he's not going to put any more strain on himself than he needs to. And I imagine that his pitching coaches and trainers and everyone around him are not going to let him do that either. So I feel like when I see him throwing the football on the field or a little foam football that doesn't even matter, or just like, catching a football, I feel like he's doing what he can to just stay active and to stay healthy while he has to rehab and like kind of rest. And I can imagine how hard it is to be able to do a bunch of stuff but not be able to do what you want to do, if that makes any sense. Like,
Mhm.
I can go throw this foam football around lightly with not a whole lot of effort, but I'm still, you know, like running around trying to do stuff, but I can't do the one thing that I want to do right now, and that is throw a baseball and, you know, pitch in a game. So I can imagine that that's probably a little bit frustrating too. I don't know. I've never done it, but I just was really scared that people were going to start talking about how he was like running around and being active, but oh my gosh, he can't play whatever. But, you know, he's surrounded by his coaches and trainers and stuff, so they wouldn't let him do stuff that was going to be that crazy, and have the possibility of further injuring himself. I know he probably wants to do some stuff just to test his limits, but he's probably a little bit smarter than that. I give Derek Holland definite credit for that.
I do too. And you know, I somebody actually got to me on Twitter and said that it seemed like I like you Darvish more than Derek Holland, and you like Derek Holland more than you Darvish. And I just want to, like, in closing, I just want to kind of clear that up. I think we like both guys pretty equally. I mean, for different reasons, obviously, but it's not like I like one over the other and you like the other one over, you know. So I kind of wanted to clear that up.
Oh no! I mean, to say that I liked Derek Holland over you Darvish is pretty crazy, or whichever one I was. I don't remember.
No, they said that it seemed like I like you better than Darvish, and then you like Derek better than you better than Derek, and you like Derek better than you.
Okay. Well, I mean, I do love me some Derek Holland. Don't get me wrong. I love him for what he is, though. Do I think that Yu Darvish is way more talented than Derek Holland? Yes. But I think they have their great qualities about them, and I love them both. I want to keep them both. That's fine. I love both of them. They're different. They're very different pitchers. So it's like loving. What?
No, go ahead. Finish
it. I was just gonna say it's like loving apples and oranges. So it's not that great of a finished thought, but it is. Like they're different, and then they provide different things for me. Okay.
We can take that.
I'm just gonna stop. I was just gonna like try not to acknowledge what I just said. So thank you. I'm just gonna. Whoops.
No, but seriously, I will remind everybody, if you want to know how Emily really feels about you, Darvish, go back and go on iTunes and find our podcast through SDI, and go. I'll actually put it out there because we're going to go back to the you Darvish conversation that we had. And if you want to know how Emily really feels about you, Darvish, like sincerely feels about him, go listen to that after I post it, and you'll find out.
I don't even remember what I said, so good luck, guys.
Well, I mean, it was all good and positive, and you know, but I mean, and I also think it's a good representation of how you feel about him, because that was the night I baited you into a conversation you didn't even know was coming.
Oh,
that conversation, yeah.
Okay.
Now do you remember?
Yeah, I was real mad at you. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" It was, yes, okay. I remember that now.
So yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, go back and listen to that after. I'll see if I can find it and repost it. But yeah, if any of you doubt that Emily likes, loves, or whatever you want to say about you, Darvish, listen to that and you will find out. Oh yeah. And I feel the exact opposite of everything I say in that episode about you, Darvish. And I will say, just in closing, that part of what inspired that whole thing was I think the schedule had just been released for this year, and I saw that the first opening series was against Oakland, in Oakland of all places, and so it got me thinking, they need Darvish to actually get it done. And I was going to tell you that's what we were going to talk about, is just, hey, we're going to talk about you, but I decided to streak on you just because I wanted a legitimate reaction, because even now, we still kind of tend to agree in principle with each other on most things. And so I wanted to shake it up, and I think I did.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was real mad at you that day. I remember that now. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like how genuine that sounded, and I was like really confused because we do generally agree, and I mean, we don't argue as much as some people do, and there's like good and bad to that or whatever, and that's fine. But that day I was like, Sarah, like this is not Sarah. Like I am so confused. Like in my whole like head the whole time I was trying not to be like, what is your problem? Like this is new and different and I am confused. But I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to yell at you. And so I was just trying so hard to just like be a little bit calm. I don't know how to be very calm though, like in my life in general. So yeah. It was a good episode though.
Yeah, so I think I'll repost that just for those people. And then, because obviously they can go back and listen to the last. It was mostly the last episode we talked about Sarah Cohen, right? And then
I can't hear you again.
What in the world? Is that better?
Yeah.
There we. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, yeah. So I think we've had a good chance to talk about both guys, and like I said, they're two guys on the opposite ends of the same spectrum, and that's okay. You need that kind of diversity in your clubhouse, especially at the top of the rotation. That's fine. People need to get over it and know that one's kind of a stoic, scholarly, I want to learn everything I can about this because I'm going to have free time type dude. And the other is going to be like, well, I'm still young. I'm going to enjoy my life, even if this kind of sucks right now. So just let me go. I mean, it's fine. Both approaches are fine. We just all need to get over it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up. Any final thoughts?
I had one earlier, and now I just lost it. But I don't really know. I don't really have that many final thoughts. You guys, like, I speak my mind quite often and go off on rants. So, hey, I haven't watched the new Star Wars trailer yet. That'll be my final thought, and I guarantee you that I can't tell you when I will watch it. So, hey. Oh, but I've been to 4 Ranger games. I keep track of my Ranger, like, record of my home games. And I'm 500 right now.
Oh, very nice.
So that's good. They scored. The last one I went to was Tuesday night, and it was 10-1 game, which was a really great game. And then the next day, they were just really awful.
And hey, speaking of pitchers you really like, Nick Martinez is looking really good this season so far.
Oh, that's what it was. Thank you. That was my parting shot. Yeah, my boy Nick Martinez. Real proud of him right now. I know it's gonna be like our 7th in our rotation if possible. Like if we had Martin Perez and Derek and you, then Nick Martinez wouldn't even be in our rotation right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he seems to be doing pretty well. I mean, I know it's only 2 games that he's pitched, but it's better than Anthony Ronaldo. I don't know how to say his name. I know the guy that we got Robbie, the guy that we gave Robbie up for. That's what I know about him.
Yeah, that's what we'll call him.
So.
And then
he did a terrible game.
Yeah, that was a horrible outing for him. Any parting shots for Artie Moreno? Because we're going to get as many of these in as we can.
Oh, Artie Moreno?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're a douchebag. And I think you're a literal piece of garbage, like I said before. So, I hope that something goes horribly wrong in your organization soon and everything falls apart. But thanks for actually having a pretty terrible organization anyway. And your farm system sucks. And I hate you. Yay!
Very nice. All right. That'll wrap us up. I'm Sarah. That's Emily. And we will see you guys later.